let's say grade 6. This is Teacher Diane, and I now welcome you to our math class. Let me now remind you of our class rules. Class, don't forget that you always have to be on time, on task, and ready to learn. You have to be kind and responsible. If you don't want to say it face to face, don't say it online. Accomplish tasks honestly. In this subject, mathematics, don't ever think of cheating by using a calculator or what. Reach out to teacher for clarifications. If you have any questions or you just simply have something to clarify, you may send a message to Teacher Diane, or you may just comment down on this post and I will just reply to your comments. And of course, let us always have fun while learning. So these are the things that you have to prepare for our lesson for today. Get your math book, your paper, and your pen. If your books are already on hand, you may turn it to page 71. Everything's now ready? Alright, let us now start with a simple review of what we have discussed last meeting. Can you now recall what was it all about? Good recall. Our topic last meeting was about addition of similar fractions. And when we say addition of similar fractions, what is it? Your answer is correct. This is where we put fractions with same denominators together. And last time we talked about adding 3 kinds of fractions, and those are? Very good. In adding proper fractions, Exactly. We simply add the numerators and then we will copy the denominators. How about improper fractions? That's correct. Just like what we do in adding proper fractions, we will add the numerators and then copy the denominator. And the sum will be simplified. How are we going to simplify the sum of improper fractions? Amazing. We transform it to its mixed number form. So how do we add mixed numbers? Oh, wonderful. We add the whole numbers and then we add the fractions. So we add the fractions by adding the numerators and then copy the denominators, and then we will just simplify it if it is applicable. So do you have any questions or clarifications about our topic last meeting? None? Are you sure? That's good to hear. So now it seems like you are now ready for our next topic. So before that, kindly name this fraction for me. Yes, this is 2/4 because there are 4 equal parts and only 2 parts were taken. How about this one? 4/6. Next one? Yeah, that's correct because whole was only divided into 2 and only 1 part was taken. So 1/2. Next. 7 parts were taken and there are 9 equal parts. So 7/9. So what did you observe in these fractions? Correct. They have different denominators. And if the fractions have different denominators, how do we call them? Yeah, we call them dissimilar fractions. Again, dissimilar fractions are fractions with different denominators. So our topic for today is about addition of dissimilar fractions. When we say dissimilar, it is different. So today we will put fractions with different denominators together. Step 1. Find the least common denominator. The least common denominator is what? Yeah, the lowest common multiple. Are you familiar with this? I see, because this one is already part of your lessons when you were in grade 5, 4, or when you were in lower grade levels, right? So today we will just recall it because this is part of our topic for today. So for our example, 1/3 plus 2/5 is equal to n. N symbolizes the answer. So we have multiple methods in getting the LCD, right? So today we will talk about the listing method and the prime factorization. So the first one, listing method. So we will find the least common denominator of our number or of our fractions through listing method. So the denominators are 3 and 5, right? So listing method, we will list the multiples. First, number 3. So 3 times 1 is 3, times 2, 6, times 3, 9, times 4, 12, times 5, we have 15. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. And the next number is 5. So we have 5 times 1 is 5, times 2, 10, times 3, 15, times 4, 20, and times 5, we have 25. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So what is the common multiple here? Correct, 15, all right? 15 is the least common denominator. When we say least, it is the smallest, all right? The smallest common multiple or smallest common denominator. So our LCD here is 15. So another method is prime factorization, wherein we will get the prime numbers of our denominators. When we say prime numbers, those are what? Amazing. Those are the numbers with only 2 factors, number 1 and the number itself. So here, 3 and 5. Those are our denominators in our example. So the prime factors of 3 is 1 times 3. And the prime factors of 5 is 1 times 5. And then we'll get 1 times 3 times 5. So if there are common factor, they will be considered as 1. Just like in this case, 1 and another 1 in number 5. So they were considered as only 1. So 1 times 3 is 3 times 5, 15. So our LCD is 15. So as you can see, in using any of the methods in finding the least common denominator, we will get the same answer. So it is up to you kung anong gagamitin mong method. It is up to you kung ano yung mas madaling method sa'yo. If you think listing method is much easier, so you can freely use it. If you think prime factorization is easier, you can use it. So you'll have the same answer kung ang gagamitin nyo ay any of the methods. So here, I'll give you another example using the prime factorization. Our numbers here are 4 and 20. So the prime factors of 4 is 1 times 2 times 2. 1 times 2 is 2 times 4 will get 4. 1 times 2 is 2 times 2 is 4. And in 20, 1 times 2 is 2 times 2, 4 times 5, 20. So here we'll have 1 times 2 times 2 times 5. 1 because number 1 in 4 and 20 are the same, so they will be considered as 1. 2 because number 2 in 4 and 20 are same. And another 2 in number 4 and 20 are the same. So they will be considered as 1 again. So 1 times 2 times 2 times 5 is equal to 20. Got it? Alright, so for our step 2, rename the dissimilar fractions to similar. So how are we gonna rename it? So we will use the least common denominator that we got, and that is 15, alright? So 15 will be their denominator. So how are we gonna get the numerators? So we will divide the LCD by the denominator and then multiply it by the numerator. So 15 divided by 3 is 5 times 1 will get 5. So 5 will be our numerator in our first fraction. So 15 divided by 5 is 3 times 2 will get, correct, 6. So 6 will be our numerator in our next fraction. So for our step 3, we will add the numerators and then use the common denominator. So our numerator here is 5 in our first fraction and then 6 in our second fraction. So 5 plus 6 is 11, and then we will just copy the denominator, which is 15. This fraction cannot be simplified. So meaning 11/15 is our final answer. 1/3 plus 2/5 is equal to 11/15. Got it? All right. Again, let me summarize the steps. Step 1, find the least common denominator or the lowest common multiple. So you may choose either finding the least common denominator through listing method or finding the least common denominator through prime factorization. Next step is rename the dissimilar fractions to similar. So here you will use the least common denominator as the denominator of your fractions, and then you will just divide the least common denominator by the denominator of your fractions and then multiply by the numerator of your fractions for you to be able to get the similar fractions. And for your last step, you will add the numerators and then use the common denominator, and then you will simplify it if it is applicable. If the fraction can no longer be simplified, so that means that that fraction is your final answer. Got it? Okay, so I'll give you another example. 7/6 plus 2/8 equals n. So here we got different denominators or fractions with different denominators. So first step, we will get the, yes, correct, LCD or least common denominator. So we will use the prime factorization. So we will list the common multiples, or we will list the multiples and then we will get the least common multiple. So 6 times 1 is 6, times 2 will get 12, times 3 will get 18, and then times 4 will have 24. Okay, let us proceed here. 8 times 1 is 8, times 2 will get 16, times 3 will get 24. So here, we got already the least common multiple. So the first common multiples, they are the least common multiples, don't forget. So we'll have 24 as our denominator. All right, so now we will get the numerator. So we will divide it by the denominator and then multiply it to the numerator. So 24 divided by 6 is 4 times 7, 28, correct. 24 divided by 8 is 3 times 2, 6, correct. So 28 plus 6 is 34. Then we will just copy the denominator. Since they are already similar fractions, we simply added the numerators and then copy the denominators. That's why we got 34/24. So as you can see, this one is an improper fraction. That's why we will transform it to its mixed number. So 34 divided by 24 will get one whole number and then 10/24. All right. Here, 10/24 can still be simplified, right? We can divide it by 2. So 1 is our whole number. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And 24 divided by 2 is 12. So this fraction can no longer be simplified, right? Meaning this is our final answer. So 7/6 plus 2/8 is equal to 1 and 5/12. Let us now proceed to adding mixed numbers that are dissimilar. Example, 1 and 5/6 plus 2 and 2/4 equals n. First, find the least common denominator, and then we will rename the dissimilar fractions to similar. Add the numerators, then use the common denominator. So as you can see, we will just do what we do in adding dissimilar fractions. So the only difference is that we will add the whole numbers here, okay? There are whole numbers that we should add here, and we will add those whole numbers separately, all right? So first step, listing method. 6, 4. We have 6, 12, 18, 24 as our multiples of 6. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24 as our multiples of 4. So here, the common multiples are 12 and 24, right? But just like what I told you earlier, the first common multiple is the least common multiple. It is the lowest, the smallest common multiple. So here we have 12 as our least common denominator. If we are going to use prime factorization in getting the least common denominator of 6 and 4, this is how it goes. So the prime factors of 6 are 1 times 2 times 3. And 4 is 1 times 2 times 2. So we'll have 1 times 2 times 2 times 3. So 1 times 2 is 2 times 2, 4 times 3 will have 12. Again, you may just choose between the two methods, listing method and prime factorization, because you'll only get the same answer if you'll do both, all right? So now that we know already the least common denominator, we will add it out. So our least common denominator is 12. So 12 plus 12. They will serve as our denominator. So we will divide the denominator by the denominator of our fraction. 12 divided by 6 is 2 times 1 will have 2. And then 12 divided by 4 is 3 times 2 will have 6. And then we will just copy the whole numbers. So since they are already similar, we can now add the numerators and then just copy the denominator. So 2 plus 6 is 8. And then copy the denominator. And then we will add the whole number separately. So 1 plus 2 is 3, meaning our answer is 3 and 8/12. Is this our final answer? Yeah, no, because we can still simplify 8/12. So we will divide it by 2. So we will first copy the whole number. So 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. Is it the final answer? No, because we can still simplify the 4, 6, 3. Okay? 4 divided by 2 is 2, and then 6 divided by 2 is 3. Is it the final answer? Yes, because we can no longer simplify to thirds, meaning 1 and 1/6 plus 2 and 2/4 is equal to 3 and thirds. Got it? All right, I'll give you another example. 3 and 1/2 plus 1 and 3/5 is equal to n. So, our first step is to get the LCD. LCD of 2 and 5. So, here we'll use the prime factorization. So, for 2, we have 1 times 2. And for 5, we have 1 times 5. This one is written in the different column because they are not the same. If they are same, so we can write them in the same column. So here, 1 times 2 times 5. All right. So 1 times 2 is 2 times 5 will have 10. Meaning, 10 is the LCD of our fractions or the least common denominator. So 10 will be our denominator. So plus 10. So now let us get the numerators. 10 divided by 2 is 5 times 1, 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2 times 3, we have 6. So let us copy the whole numbers. Now that they are similar, we will add the numerators. So 5 plus 6 is 11, and then we will just copy the denominator. So we will add the whole numbers separately. So 3 plus 1 is 4. Are we done? Not yet, because 11 tenths can still be simplified. Since it is an improper fraction, we will transform it to its mixed number form. So to transform it to its mixed number form, we have to divide it. 11 divided by 10 will have 1, remainder 1, and then just copy the denominator, which is 10. So, our whole number here is 4. So, we will add 1 to 4. So, it will be 5, and then our fraction is 1/10. So 5 and 1/10 is our final answer. Did you get it? Alright. Do you have any questions? Clarifications? You sure? Let us now practice. Go and get your papers and pen. Ready? Alright. So simply add these dissimilar fractions. So if the sum can be simplified, you will simplify it. Done? Nice. So first step is correct. Get the LCD. So our denominators here are 15 and 6. So let us get the prime numbers of these numbers. So 15 is 1 times 3 is 3 times 5. So we'll get 15. So 6, we have 1 times 2 times 3. 1 times 2 is 2 times 3, we have 6. So 1 times 2, since 15 got 3 and 6 got 3, so we'll only have 1 3 here. They will be considered as only 1, don't forget, times 5. So 1 times 2 is 2 times 3, 6 times 5 is 30. So meaning 30 is our least common denominator. 30 will be our denominator here in our fractions. And then now we will get the numerators. We will divide 30 by the denominator, which is 15. So we'll have 2 times 8, 16. 30 divided by 6 is 5 times 1, 5. All right. 16 plus 5 is, very good, 21. And then we will just copy the denominator since they are similar fractions now. So are we done? Not yet, because 21 30s can still be simplified. So we will divide both by 3, correct. So 21 divided by 3 is 7, and 30 divided by 3 is 10. Did you get it right? Very good. Another practice. Write this on your paper and then solve it. Simplify if it is possible. Done? Okay, let us check if your answer is correct. So first step is to get the LCD, right? So here naman, we will use the listing method. So the multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And the multiples of 25 are 25, 50, 75, and so forth. So we got already the least common denominator or the common multiple, right? So as you got the common multiple, you may stop there because the first common multiple is the answer. So 25 here and 25 there. Meaning our least common denominator or LCD is 25. So 25 plus 25. So let us now get the numerator. How are we going to get it? All right, divide the least common denominator by the denominator of our fractions. So 25 divided by 25 is 1. Any number that you will divide to itself is equal to 1. So 1 times 10, 10. 25 divided by 5 is, how many 5 are there in 25? We have 5 times 7, 35. So 10 plus 35 is 45, and then we will just copy the denominator, which is 25. Are we done? Not yet, because it is an improper fraction, meaning we can still simplify it by transforming it to its mixed number form. So how are we going to transform it? Correct, by dividing it. The numerator is the one inside. So 45 divided by 25. So how many 25 do we have in 45? Only 1. 1 times 25 is 25, and 45 minus 25 is 20. Remainder 20. Meaning we have 1 whole 20 as our remainder or the number left, and then we will just copy the denominator, which is 25. Are we done? Not yet, because 20 25s can still be simplified. We will divide both by 5. So 1 here. 20 divided by 5 is 4, and 5 divided by 5 is 5. Are we done? Correct. Meaning 10 25ths plus 7 fifths is equal to 1 and 4 fifths. 1 and 4 fifths is our final answer. Got it right? Amazing. For our last practice, Add and simplify if possible. Write it on your paper. Are you done? Okay, let us answer this practice. These are mixed numbers, right? So we will first get the LCD. What method did you use? All right, let us use that, the listing method. 9, 27. 9 times 9. 9 times 1 is 9, times 2 we have 18, times 3 we have 27. And here 27 times 1 is 27. As simple as that. We will stop here because we got already the common denominator. We'll stop here because we got already the common multiple. So 27 and another 27. So 27 will be our denominator. 27 plus 27. So let us copy our whole numbers, 12 and 8. So to get our numerator, we will divide it first by the denominator and then multiply by the numerator. 27 divided by 9 is 3 times 2, 6, correct. 27 divided by 27 is 1 times 1, 1. Since they are already similar fractions, we will just simply add the numerators and then copy the denominator. So 6 plus 1 is 7, and then copy the denominator, which is 27. And then let us add the whole numbers. 12 plus 8 is 20. Are we done? Yes, because they are known number that we can divide exactly by 7 and 27. So meaning 20 and 7/27 is our final answer. Is your answer correct? And that's great. Do you have any questions? Clarifications? Okay. So again, today we talked about exactly addition of dissimilar fractions, wherein we put fractions with different denominators together. So don't forget that in adding fractions, you always have to start with getting the LCD or the least common denominator, wherein you may get it by using different methods such as listing method and prime factorization. You may just choose between them because you will only get the same answer, alright? And then after that, you will rename the dissimilar fractions to similar fractions by using the LCD as your denominator, and then in getting the numerator, you have to... Yes, that's correct. Divide the LCD by the denominator and then multiply by the numerator. And then you will only simplify it when? When it is possible. That's correct. Any questions? Clarifications? Okay. So for your daily work number 6, add and simplify the sum of the given dissimilar fractions and mixed numbers accurately. So this is the letter C of your activity 1 on page 73 to 74 of your workbook. So there are 10 items. You have to answer all of those to get the perfect score, which is 10. Got it? All right. So that's all for today, class. Thank you for listening. Have a great day ahead. Bye!